Wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seat and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go. You know what it is. You know what it is. This is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, here with my girl, Miss Majestic Maya, who shall also be known as the Maverick, and the latest addition to the crew. Needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. The maestro himself. Yeah. Where my dogs at? The maestro himself, superhero DJ John Quick. We in the building. It is
What's good?
Yes, Friday, July 24th, y'all. We gonna get in. First and foremost, DJ John Quick, how you feeling, my brother? I know you had a little bout.
Yeah. Yesterday was real crazy. You know, I spent like 12 hours in damn emergency room. Just back spasms and the chest discomfort, but I'm okay. The best thing that came out of everything is that I actually got COVID tested and I was negative. So now I know, even though I knew I didn't have it, but it's always good to know. But I'm blessed, and as you know what it is, bro. Q100, they basically told me like, yo, your diet sucks. Like you gotta start eating better. And I was like, yeah, they're right. So I actually started yesterday, just lower cholesterol, lower sodium, and diet. And they was like, yo, you'll be fine. Everything else checked out great. So
you are not alone. A lot of us black folk, when we talk about diet, it's gonna be a diet that includes a whole bunch of salt, a whole bunch of fried food. Yes. So you are not alone. At least we know you did not get your black card revoked. Because bad means that you keep it real, man. But yeah, we got to get better on our diets, and so we're happy to have you not only testing COVID negative, but healthy and back with the Ball Hog Sports Talk. And we ready to get in. We got some good topics. We might as well start from the very top. The battle of all battles this week, the Verzuz battle, because this week's edition is called No Dog in This Fight. And it is inspired by the battle that was on Wednesday. 2 nights ago, we had quite the dog fight of all dog fights. DMX versus Snoop Dogg in a Verzuz battle. And I can't find 2 people more equipped and more credible to discuss that battle than our superhero DJ John Quick and Miss Majestic Maya the Maverick, because she loves her some DMX. What do y'all think about the battle? Y'all give me the analysis.
I'll let the ladies go first.
First of all, that was the win for hip hop alone. Was you couldn't put it into words. And at first I was just like, I'm not listening to it. Then my trainer, shout out, hey Diamond, he was like, you got to watch this. And I got in probably like DMX's second song. And I was just like, it took me right back to high school because DMX came out in 98. That was my senior year in high school.
Okay.
And with him, Rough Riders, it was just like, damn, I remember Rough Riders anthem. We had came back from our senior trip. We tore that bus down singing that song. And it was just, I swear, I got chills. It was just like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's hip hop, not this fucking, what is this shit we listen to? I don't listen to it. It just sounds like they have Tourette's. Chopping the words like a rapper.
No, she didn't.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? And Snoop, let me tell you something. If DMX and Snoop came out with a TV show, I'm watching it. I don't care if I gotta pay $10, $15 a month. They are comedy gold and they're authentic. That's the thing about both of them. Because Snoop has some bangers. I was up there, Doggy Style, that album right there. Let me tell you something. I have more DMX. Oh man, that made my heart smile. And DMX had me crying when he said, I ain't taking off my shirt. I take off my shirt, we'll look like the number 10 up here. Because he round now. But honey, to see him healthy, and he was winded, but should I be winded too? He had all his songs were like hype. Like they got the crowd.
We got reminded of the energy, and I'm gonna go out there and go on a limb. He's not on crack anymore. If he's that round, that means he's not on crack anymore. He looks healthy. That was good.
It was good. Snoop. I'm sorry. One last thing, Snoop. Let me tell you something. He did his thing too, because he was up there crip walking, doing his whole show. Those two need a show. I don't know who needs to produce it, but they need to be on TV to show these fucking Tourette mumble rappers how hip hop really is. Not this get quick, rich quick bullshit, this microwave trash music that they keep putting out. Because I ain't buying or listening to it. That's it.
Superhero DJ John, quick. What is your analysis of the Verzuz battle? Today's episode, no dog in this fight, but for this, I gotta know who do you think won? You never said that.
Hip hop. Like honestly, I think Snoop won, but I'll keep it 100 with you. It was a lot closer than what it could have been because X's energy, those high energy songs that he had, he brought it. Like he brought it in, and the funny thing is, I think Snoop was as much as is in his corner as his fans were. Right. You could see Snoop singing background with them, and every 5 minutes they was dabbing each other up. It was a beautiful thing to see two brothers, and all rappers have an ego. You have to have an ego to be a rapper. But they put that ego to the side in terms of a celebration of just good music. And it was definitely a sight to see. And my thing was this, like what would have been really dope is if they stepped into that booth after that battle, because they were in a recording studio and did a song together. That's what I was wanting. I was like, that would be so hot. They need to do an album together. Now that DMX as well. That would be great.
One thing that we forgot to leave out, that prayer, I told you, DMX is going to be a pastor. He needs to be because
he has that voice.
It's just something like he could talk about reading the telephone book and I'm just like completely engaged. He has that. Like not everyone has that, but he has it. And I was up there like, this man gonna make me cry, ruin my makeup. Well, I didn't have on makeup, but he was gonna make a girl shed a tear. He has it. Like not everyone has it. He's got it. And for him to just get it together, and oh my God, it was beautiful. It was something that really touched my heart. And a lot of things don't make me happy like that, but that was everything.
All right, so quickly, because the idea of Verzuz itself, I'm glad to hear that it was everything that it was projected to be, because it had been hyped up. It had been hyped up.
It was everything. It was everything.
And it lived up to the hype.
Hold on, Bob. That freestyle at the end, Snoop. Listen. Snoop has always been legendary with the freestyle, but I'm just glad the entire nation got to see what I already knew. His freestyle
was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So a win, a photo finish win for Snoop, a monumental win for hip hop.
Yes,
absolutely.
Verzuz itself as a platform and an idea, monumental win for them. And a few days prior to that Verzuz battle, the announcement came out that indeed Swiss Beats and Timbaland had inked a deal with Apple Music, and so that's going to be the platform now for Verzuz.
Wow.
And they were undisclosed terms, but I mean, look, hip hop. Salute to hip hop. I saw a few people. And I love my woke folk. I got a lot of woke folk in my network, but I think there comes a point because even in our theme song, we say, and stay woke. Sometimes you might be too woke. There are some people in my universe, in my network, that were so woke that they think that the deal with Apple means that we have now lost another product that is authentically ours, and they sort of sold out. And another form of cultural misappropriation with Apple taking Verzuz. Do you guys have a thought on that one way or another quickly? And I give everybody credibility in terms of having a voice and an opinion on it, but I thought that was too woke. I don't know what you guys think.
I don't know, have enough information on it, but from the work of Timbaland and Swiss, I don't think that they did anything to discredit where they want Black music to go.
Got it. Okay, quick, you?
I agree. We don't know. It could be a partnership. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know the actual term deal. So until we know that, we can't really pass judgment on what happened. I mean, because all I know is, the main thing with them was they've always been about the culture. So I can't see why they would all of a sudden, change up. I do hope whatever loot they got, they need to start distributing to all the past Verzuz participants, because that's why they got the deal. You on
to something.
I'm hoping they'll be, benevolent in that way. So that's all I got to say on that. Yeah.
All right. So our first commercial break in the history of Ball Hawk Sports Talks comes right now. And the commercial is, I want everybody. First of all, we're thanking everyone who is tuned in. We appreciate the text. We appreciate the support. We want everybody to do two things for us. First, we always ask humbly that you like, that you comment, and that you share. So we make that same humble plea that you like, comment, and share. And then we're asking now that you guys tag somebody. Find 5 people that love discussing sports, love discussing business, love discussing entertainment, and tag them in the comments so they can get some of this great commentary. Because you have the maestro, superhero DJ John Quick. You have the Maverick, Miss Majestic Maya, and you have the MC, yours truly, the Ball Hog himself, B Brown ESQ. So with that commercial break, back into the action, I have to then put one comment up because our listeners make the show. And this one comment, I think I know where it's going. The Love Dog himself. He says all of it was terrible. You know why, Q. And I think where he's going is there was a moment in the battle where Snoop says something to the effect, where the ladies at, and gets corrected by DMX and says, where the bitches at, right? And I think that was a pretty good DMX in sort of voiceover. What do you guys think about the use of the B word? Did it discredit the entire show itself? And then I'm going to use that to pivot into something else. So quickly, what do you guys think about DMX being authentic DMX, but using the B word so freely?
I, as a female, a woman, because I hate when people's females, I wasn't offended by it. That's part of the culture. Not saying it's right, but if he was to say, "Hey, where the lady," it'd be like, "Really, DMX? Like no." It's authentic. It is
where
who
are
it is.
Where are my queens at? It just don't sound right.
Yeah, it's like,
where the queens at?
Yeah. It's like, no, that's him. I wasn't offended by it. Other women may feel differently. That's on you. I wasn't offended by it at all.
DJ John Quick, I saw that.
I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be mad at any woman that's offended by it. But at the same time, a lot of those women that I saw offended by it, I know for a fact was up in my parties singing along to those songs, or Snoop talking about bitches and hoes. You know what I'm saying? So I guess these days it just seemed what it was when he said it just seems a lot more offensive today than it did back in the 90s. So I guess funny when he said it, I kind of cringed, and then funny Charlemagne in the comments. Yeah, Charlemagne in the comments was like, "Oh man, I gotta commend him on his bravery." I don't know if you can say that in 2020, which was kind of funny, but yeah, I get it. I get both sides. He's being authentic. I mean, honestly, I think DMX, he looks at dogs on the same level that you beings.
People censor the wrong things. People get up in arms about the wrong things. Not to say that this isn't valid. I get it. Like the misogyny in hip hop is. Trust me, everything in this fucking world started based off misogyny. I get it. But in the context it's okay.
Mhm.
And it's like I said, people could feel however they want. I don't give a shit. I wasn't offended by it. That's DMX. And my thing is this: the people who were so, oh my God, he said hoes and bitches. Are you the one? Are you calling Congress people and calling the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department trying to get Breonna Taylor's killers apprehended, arrested, like something?
Well,
Since you want to be so, if you gonna go there, go all the way there.
Well, some
Don't
are,
fucking half step. Now that's 80s hip hop.
Some are, and they got upset. The people that have been consistent when it comes to whether it be Breonna Taylor or any issues related to misogyny. And so here's my theory, because I've got 3 sisters that I adore. I wasn't offended by it. And my thing was, when you use those words, there's a group of women who get hyped about it because a lot of them happen to be, as described, they want to be in the culture, and they've chosen it. That's how they want to be in the culture. Whereas there are some sophisticated women that wake up and go to work who they probably think he ain't talking to me. So it's one of those things where I wasn't offended by it, but it did prompt me to pay close attention to how we're responding, because both of you have qualified it as in 2020. Right? Can you use that in 2020? Because we are on the heels or still really in the throes of the Me Too movement. There was an incident that happened this week, and I'm going to share that with you guys, because the use of the B word does not just stop with hip hop. And so I'm going to share that now, and it'll be about a minute or so clip. And then we'll go from there. But we'll see. And that's why I'm biased. But I love the Ball Hog Sports Talk, because that combination of sports, business, entertainment, we're seeing that there's a natural intersection with a lot of these things. And so let me go here and find it right here.
Thank you.
Let's do it here. And all right, check this out. You guys tell me what you think about it. And
I saw this.
It's just like it's amazing, right? So let me hear what you guys think about it. Let's listen to the clip first.
Turn up the volume on the clip.
There's no volume.
Looks good.
No
volume.
All right, I gotta do that again then. Let me change that then. I don't know what I did with the volume. That should have worked volume wise. All right. Basically, if you haven't seen the clip, yeah, the volume should have worked. But hold on, let me make sure that I got it all teed up right. I'll try one more time.
Yeah, if you click on the actual
seen the video,
yeah,
I did that, but I don't know why I didn't. But if you have not looked at that clip, separate and aside from the Ball Hog Sports Talk, I ask that you go back and watch that clip, because I think it just shows so much in terms of where we are with the use of certain words, and post, or I will say currently during the Me Too movement, how the culture has shifted, and we're not just allowing people to use the word anymore. Let me try one more time, and if it doesn't work, then we'll move forward. So we won't spend too much time on it. But I do encourage everyone outside of just the Ball Hog Sports Talk, go look at that clip. It is amazing to hear how she dealt with the use of the word being used against her by another congressperson, and then putting the burden on all of us to take a different level of
I do have a comment on that.
Let's see if we can get it in there real quick. Let me see if we can get it in there real quick. And then let's see if we can get in there. All right.
No, so nothing.
No?
No.
Yeah, so let's just break it down.
All right. All good. All good. I hate that we can't do it that way, because I wanted everyone to be able to see it. But essentially, she breaks down how the use of that word has been so normalized in the U.S., and that it's cultural. But she then goes into how, as a woman, how as a daughter, how as a congresswoman, how she had an obligation to address it head on. And so it put me in a position of dealing with the reality as a man, as a constituent, as a brother to 3 sisters, as an uncle to an aunt, as an uncle to nieces, how we all have that obligation to address misogyny head on. And so I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I thought the AOC was spot on in saying that not only was she not intimidated by this Congress, what's his name? Yoho, what's the guy's name?
Yoho.
Whatever his name is. And then ironically, I went and I saw this today. I'm gonna share the screen one more time. Then we're done with shared screen stuff. Y'all bear with us. This is technology. I'm figuring out the technology.
I'm about to say it's you.
Right. Hold on. The word of the day is, you guys can see that? I'm big on word of the day. Taciturn. And that's basically taciturn, you know, as a definition, I think speaks very highly of how I was analyzing myself. Meaning that, you know, we can't be complicit. We can't just stand by. We can't just allow people to be misogynistic without doing something. And it was ironic that I do word of the day all the time, but dictionary.com, I encourage those of you who only have a vocabulary like the mumble rappers and use choice words only, I encourage you to go to word of the day to increase your vocabulary. But taciturn says a lot about how it says a lot about inclined to silence, reserved in speech, reluctant to join in conversation. It says a lot about how men have been about misogyny in not only music, but in the broader culture. What do you guys think about it? And then we'll pivot to some more sports topics.
I totally agree, first of all, with AOC. Now, what I said prior in the hip hop battle, everything in context. Now, DMX, that's who he is. I'm not making excuses for him. But what this congressman did to her, this is not just misogyny, it's racism, it's elitism, it's just blatant disrespect for her. Right. And because she's a vocal woman who's probably smarter than him, because she's a very smart woman, the mere fact that she had the fucking balls to actually speak her mind and not back down, that, oh, she's a bitch. And then you offer some lame ass, half ass apology. Oh, well, I didn't do it.
I love that she did not accept. I love that she did not accept that little lame apology.
Because I would
take that apology, wrap it up, get it out of here. I love that.
My thing is this: the best apology is change behavior. He's not going to change his behavior. He's trying to save face. And exactly, like, how would he feel? You know, the first thing that popped in, I had this conversation with my aunt, was how would he feel if someone called his mom or his wife or his daughter a bitch? I was
That's
like,
what AOC asked. That is what AOC asked. And I thought that was powerful that she asked that.
I told her, I was just like, you know what? Who says he doesn't call his wife? Who's to say that this man actually has respect for women anyway? That he respects his daughter, his wife, or his mother? Right. You know, so just don't assume because you hold someone in a higher regard that someone else will. A lot of these guys are fucking trash. These congressmen, they have wives on this. They're fucking scumbags. And he did it. It was just more than just misogyny. It was racism, sexism. It was a whole lot intertwined with him calling her a fucking bitch.
I love that in the spirit of hip hop, this all started from the dog in the fight with DMX and Snoop Dogg. I love that in the spirit of hip hop, and she being a New Yorker, stepped to him the way that you should step to him. And take your apology and go home with it.
Yeah.
I got some words to say on the floor of Congress, on Capitol Hill. She said what she had to say. And if there was a meme related to how she addressed it, it would be a powerful meme. I love that sister did what she did. DJ John Quick, I'll give you final words, and then we'll use this to pivot into another topic that I know that you guys both are dying to weigh in on. you have last conversation, last say on AOC.
Well, like you said, it's all in context, and you know, it just made me so angry. I wish I had been there so I could have thrown dude down the stairs, you know, because she was saying they was walking up the stairs. So I wish I had been there, you know, as soon as he said it, I would just throw him down the stairs.
Right.
I've never been one to stand by and see one of my sisters get, you know, disrespected on any level, let alone be called the B word like that. And I just, you know, and then how do you apologize for that? No, there's no apology. There's no going back. You know, you said what you said, so deal with the consequences. I appreciate AOC for standing up to herself. I just wish she had a container of mace in her pocketbook, just the mason, because she could have easily said she felt threatened. You know,
right. Yeah, and
know,
she talked about it step by step. He took another step closer to me. It was an interesting breakdown.
Yes.
She should have maced it.
People assume men, and I'm getting on men, they assume because women are quote unquote the weaker sex that they could just come at them. She should have kicked them in the balls. And if you she's very small. She's a small woman. And it's just this bully bullshit punk ass mentality. I'm gonna bully her and tell her about herself. She should have knocked them the fuck out. See, my hood ass, if I would have had something in my hand, I would have went right upside his fucking head, kicked him in the balls, and then stepped on his balls as I stepped over him.
Well, we learned.
Don't do that to me.
We have learned through several cases, starting with Trayvon Martin. That's called stand your ground. But I will say this: when you just throw out, kick him in the balls, every man that's watching right now just cringe, Maya. You can't just be saying that so freely. Like that's
my thing is, look. Don't start. Won't be nothing. Don't violate my personal. First of all, we supposed to be social distancing anyway. Your ass supposed to be 6 feet away from me, and you gonna violate my personal space? Because
they don't believe in that.
Yeah, white people. Shout out to the white people that actually practice social distancing. But I've been calling y'all out for years because y'all just be all up in people's shit. That's why we in the situation we in now.
Well, that's a Florida congressperson, so he probably is not respecting the 6 feet of space. But I'll say this, because looking at the word of the day, taciturn, and you look at that definition and hearing some of those parts of the definition, inclined to silence, reserved in speech, reluctant to join in conversation is the definition of taciturn. And I'll say I'm guilty of it when it comes to misogyny in certain spaces, because just like we saw it in Congress, and I see it often in the business world, whether it be law or finance, we get to hear it a lot in music. And so you think of, Short Dog. What's my favorite word? I mean, that song come on and we all hype, right? And it's not just men. Let's be honest. I love me some Too Short. I love Too Short. And that's why I came with that topic today, or that episode title today. Ain't got no dog in this fight. Because when it comes to the protection of our women, we indeed do have dog in the fight, and we got to be better. And it's not just the men, because Meg Thee Stallion uses the B word. Women call each other the B word regularly. So I just think that, in music, I mean, and even beyond music, right? Cardi B uses the B word just as frequent, if not more, than Too Short. So I think that we have to be responsible and say what it is that we're going to do to curb the misogyny and be consistent. And it might make us uncomfortable, but I think AOC being willing to be uncomfortable in front of her her fellow Congress people is a good start. And so I'll leave it there. Go ahead, Maya. You get last.
Hold on. Let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick while it's on my mind. But Bob, what I would say to you is Cardi B and Megan using the B word is like black people using the N word. It's not the same. It's not the same.
I agree.
When a man using the B word towards a woman, that's a whole different animal. And
exactly.
I've never been
exactly, but you can't. Everyone can't do everything. Like there's certain things that certain people aren't allowed to do. What I was going to say was, I don't even think AOC was intimidated speaking to her delegation. She should have. I think she's confident enough to pull it off. I think she was very uncomfortable when this punk ass man got up in her personal space and called her a fucking bitch. That's what's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Who does that? Like, what? Like, that's what we do.
Because he does it all the time. And no one calls people out. That's the thing. The reason why we have so many problems in this world is because we are conditioned to don't say anything, don't be confrontational, whatever. That shit is old. No, the reason why people continue to do the punk fuck shit that they do is because they're not called on it. When they're called out on it, shut up, and they're embarrassed and they're made to feel some sort of kind of way, that's when they change. That's why I said the best apology is changed behavior. No one's going to change if it's not put in their face and they're not called out for it and they feel some sort of repercussions for it.
All right, we'll pivot. We'll pivot. We'll pivot, but I'll just say this to the maestro, superhero DJ John Quick, and to the Maverick, Miss Majestic Maya. You guys are both right, but I think when you look at this comment by Love Dog, he says all of it was terrible. You know why, Q? And he put that to me specifically because he has done what I think is the honorable thing to do in challenging me to stop using the N-word. I agree that it's almost a term of endearment, and if you don't give it power, you own it, then it's different than allowing someone, and we tried to qualify the ER at the end of the word versus the A at the end of the word, and if a black person's using it versus somebody in certain counties in Florida, and Love Dog sort of challenged me on it, and I respect that. I also respect the position that if you don't give it power, it can't have power over you. And so this is a conversation. We're not going to solve it now, but I think that we all are obligated, and it's our responsibility to call out misogyny and stomp it out in its place. And congratulations to AOC for doing that. All right, so I'm going to use that. I think it's the perfect segue to get into the next topic, which happens to be the gender pay gap. If you think about the pay gap in all of the professional ranks, when it comes to lawyers, one partner versus another partner, when it comes to finance, a managing director versus another managing director, it's been clear that we have arrived at this point during the Me Too movement that enough is enough. If I make $1 million as a man doing the same job and doing the same function as a woman, she should make $1 million too. I posted something, and I know it's not apples to apples, but I posted something about the WNBA. The entire WNBA, from a salary standpoint, made $12 million in 2019. LeBron himself, LeBronis, the king, the chosen one, made $37 million. That's $37 million to one player versus $12 million to an entire league of WNBA players. And I know you guys are all familiar with the U.S. women's national soccer team in their case against the soccer delegation when it comes to gender pay or discrepancy in the pay of gender related to gender. What do you guys think about when it comes to the difference in pay, the gender pay gap when it comes to sports?
I think the WNBA, NBA, apples, oranges. I understand it's the shortest season.
True.
The endorsements, it's a newer league. Remember when the NBA formed and all these other sports started, these sports leagues started, they weren't making the money that they make today because they were new. It's a completely different beast. Now, I'm pro woman all day. Hear me roar, but it's not a fair comparison. It's totally different. The money that's generated, things of that nature, it's totally different. Something very different. What I will say in regards to the national women's soccer team, they actually fucking win. Unlike the men, the product that they put out on that field every year.
No, she didn't.
You put me in some fucking cleats and some soccer shorts, and I could beat those fucking bums. And they pay them more. I'm like, are you serious? These chicks are out there doing it, pregnant, the whole shebang, making it happen. And then that judge who ruled against them, so fucking Trump appointed, whatever his little coward ass is. Like, why would you do that? U.S. women's soccer is the reason why soccer gets the attention it does now in this country, because nobody gets it. Okay? And those girls are bad. They do that because they try, you guys don't generate. No, motherfucker, we win. That's what we're supposed to do. How many gold medals does these other male soccer players have? They're commentators because they can't play, because they're not good enough, because they don't win.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I imagine the maestro DJ John Quick, you'll say something very similar. But here's my thing. That is true, but why is it true when it comes to basketball? Yes, it's very different in terms of the revenue that they generate. Yes, it's very different in terms of the length of the season. But why is that true? They're playing the same game on 10 feet baskets. Now, I happen to be a connoisseur of women basketball because I'm teaching my son the game. And women play the game more fundamentally sound. And I know that's a broad stroke statement, but I find it to be true on average than men. So I like to show my son the game from a perspective of college basketball is great. WNBA, I think, is just as good because it's not a 1 versus 5 game. Every once in a while, you know, a Taurasi or somebody can take over at any point, but it's still fundamental basketball. So I like to watch women's basketball. And so all of that is true. Very different game. It doesn't even compare in terms of the revenue that it generates. And I'm going to say that that's on us, the consumer. That's on us. That should not be the case. We should have some form or level of parity when it comes to basketball, because the basketball that women produce to put on the product that is on that court is a darn good product. Whereas NBA, look, I'm starving for the NBA to come back too. We're going to do a segment on that before we end today. But that product is a bit irresponsible. Try to coach a YMCA team the day after a big game. Every player is going to come down and chuck up a shot right past, but they are influenced by that. And so I just think that, yes, it's true, but I'm starting subliminal misogyny in how we consume sports that allow that to be true, because the same game is played at 10 feet.
Bob, your internet, you better keep that box. Keep your modem, because we're getting every third word. He's like,
are you guys
misogyny? When? It's like, dude,
my bad. Hold on, let me turn off some of these devices. That's probably why.
You got
me and my spotty Wi-Fi. But I would say this. I think that we create that reality that the two are different because we keep consuming along misogynistic levels. The basketball is better. I would say women's basketball is better. Why are we not consuming it on fair levels?
Well, look at marketing. My thing is this: if I have a shorter window, I'm not playing. I don't play devil's advocate. Since it's a shorter window, shouldn't you ramp up the marketing? I mean, there's so many things, but the first thing that pops in my mind, and people are like, "Where the hell is she going with this?" is Kobe and Gianna Bryant, and it's so unfortunate that those two people are not here, because Kobe Bryant was a huge ambassador for women's basketball. And I think Gianna literally would have been that person to take. I mean, they wouldn't be making LeBron money, but I think it would have taken it to that next step. And I think that what Kobe did was he used his influence to make it much more visible, to put it out there more.
Right.
I mean, that's why, look at UConn and Gino Auriemma. I can't stand him as I just don't like him. But he wins, and he refuses to leave women's basketball because he said men aren't coachable. They don't listen. That's the same thing with society. Society doesn't listen. Just because you say something is good for you or to you doesn't mean people are going to listen. They want flash.
Here's the idea, and you guys tell me what you think about it. Here's the idea. You guys tell me what you think about it, because I'm sick of being sick and tired when it comes to the general popular basketball fan being so unsophisticated that they don't appreciate the gem, the jewel that is women's basketball. So here's my idea. Because the salaries are so low that most WNBA players in their offseason don't have an offseason. they have to go play internationally in order to make salaries that compare to the last person on any NBA roster. My idea is it should be an international game. Since women are already used to playing internationally, they should have an international schedule that would create an international fan base that we can start taking advantage of the fact that internationally, globally, people love basketball. I think that they should lower the goals. And every time I've said that, people that play in the WNBA, I've said that directly to them. They get mad at me. But the unsophisticated fan loves a slam dunk. They love the athleticism. And women are getting more and more athletic, and some are dunking at 10 feet, but not so widespread that dunking has become a part of basketball. I would lower the goals so the jump shot's not off considerably. I would lower them just a little bit, like a 9-6, 9-7. So there's more dunking, and I would make it an international schedule because the U.S. fan base, we're just too unsophisticated. And let's be honest, we're misogynistic in how we consume sports. That's just my take. The WNBA didn't ask me about it, but if they did, I would say those two qualities would change the consumption and allow these women to get some semblance of fair pay.
Well, honestly, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. They already play with a smaller ball, so why not? I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean,
a lot of men do too. Mm-hmm. How you doing?
Yo, that's funny. That's funny.
She hot today.
She's killing it. Fact of the matter is, the average guy just doesn't think the WNBA is exciting as the NBA, and it's because of the athleticism, that the NBA, displays a lot. And I think lowering the rim just by a few inches, because there are already, like you said, there are women that can dunk already. So just lower it a few inches so a few more women can dunk. And I'll be honest with you, I think ratings will go up. And I like the international idea. So, at the end of the day, I mean, we can't, if something is not working for 20 years, they've been around over 20 years. You have to look into alternatives. Okay, how can we make this work? We want it to work.
Right.
We know, and I agree with you 100%, Bob. The women's game is so pure. It's so pure. Like if I had a son, I was gonna teach him how to play basketball. We're watching, tape of women's basketball because they play fundamentally sound. Whereas a lot of times in the NBA, it's all about, he broke his ankles, but can't shoot a 10-foot jump shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
you can watch the San Antonio Spurs when they had old clips of Tim Duncan, because if they weren't textbook basketball, I don't know what team wasn't.
You make a great point, Maya, and everybody hated them. As champions, we wanted
them to lose. They were boring.
And that's my thing. And Scott Bibb says, I don't believe you need to change the rules of the game just for women. That's low-key sexism. And women have said the same thing to me in response. I happen to be fortunate enough to have some friends that have played in the WNBA, and they have the same response. I'm just saying, like John Quick has already stated, if it's not working for 20 years, it's time to fix it. It's because the consumer is so unsophisticated that we need to make adjustments to make it a better business. And I think if you lower the goals just a tad bit, you have, instead of it being 1 or 2 women in the WNBA who can dunk, you then go up to 25 or 30 women in the WNBA who can dunk. And it doesn't throw out the jump shot so much that all those years of training will be off. And look, you already make the adjustment with the size of the basketball. I got to be clear.
That's my point.
Not today. I'm not going to call it a ball. I'm going to call it a basketball.
Really?
Right? So that's my only thing.
Oh no, she didn't.
If you're trying to if you're worried about pay and trying to make it a game that generates more revenue, you got to be where the fan and the consumer is, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fact.
Wait, I was going to say something that what is his name? Tony Hayes. He said something, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. My idea is that part of the WNBA season should overlap with the NBA. I totally agree with that. I think depending on the times of the games, if there's a Sunday game it's the WNBA starts at, let's say, 1 o'clock or something, or have a WNBA game in between 2 NBA games, the fans aren't going to leave and come back. They're going to stay there.
People have done it already. College football's already done it, because if you want your season tickets in college football, and I'm just going to give an example here, you can't just get the ticket. They make you get a whole package of tickets. Right. The NBA does it, right? You can't just get the premier highlight game that you want. They force you to also get the ticket to the game that nobody wants to see. Notre Dame versus whatever, Western Michigan, right? If I want to see Notre Dame versus Michigan, right, and guarantee that I'm getting that ticket, I got to buy the season ticket, which also includes Notre Dame versus Western Michigan. And so I think the NBA could be more purposeful about it, but I don't know. Again, misogyny rules the day when it comes to the sport of business, and so no NBA executives have this at the top of their list of priorities. So that's why I think being more creative and making the game international, as opposed to just the stepchild or sister league to the NBA, is the only way they can get out of that shadow and get the fan base that they so richly deserve. I'll give you guys the final word on it, and we'll turn pages. But I think we just solved the whole business idea of what WNBA.
That sounds lovely. All I have to say is this. Last week, I mentioned that I have an issue with people who've never played the game making decisions. The WNBA is a clear representative of that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, someone said in the comments that advertisers need to pay, the girls the money that they pay the men. No, that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Because advertisers are all about eyes. And if you don't got no eyeballs on you, the advertiser's like, you can't help me. So, I mean, that's the reality of the game.
Why do you think they be hyping up Candace Parker? Now, she could, I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt. Now, she could ball, but she's pretty.
Same with Skylar Diggs.
She fought it all. As my granddad used to say, she fought it all outdoors.
Look at Skylar. Look at Skylar Diggins. Skylar
Diggins. I've been stalking her for years, man. I know too many Notre Dame cats. They like, yo, Maya, I'm like, I don't know, man. She can ball and she's pretty.
Hey, I say this, and that's why you got to reverse engineer it. You're right, John Quick, that the advertisers aren't going to voluntarily pay more for those spots or pay the athletes. So you got to reverse engineer it and create more eyeballs. And so I think that by lowering the goals just a little bit, so dunking becomes a natural and regular part of the game. And also go out to international audiences that you already have, because look at all the leagues that exist internationally. You already have it. And so go play internationally. That's why I think you can solve it. Go ahead, Maya. You get last word.
One thing I was going to say, now, since they have a lot of partner, like what is it, Detroit Shock, Detroit Pistons, if they sell WNBA apparel in NBA stores and highlight that this much, let me tell you something. I have followed sports teams. Okay, I follow sports teams because of, like, the Oregon Ducks. Who the hell gives a shit about Oregon? But they got the flyest damn uniform. Generates attention. I'm like, yo, that shit, how that? So even as basic as something like that, that's something that looks good, because remember, men are visual creatures. You got to tap into that.
And there are so many designers, female designers, that would take that project and run with it. I just think, again, having the NBA executives as the people making decisions from a partnership standpoint is why the WNBA is still stuck 20 years later in a position of inferiority. And we'll leave it there. Making a quick transition. Major League Baseball is back. One of the big four. Major League Baseball made its return last night. The Yankees beat the Nationals 4-1. I should have said, spoiler alert. The Yankees beat the Nationals 4-1. The Dodgers beat the Giants 8-1 in a doubleheader. But I think there's two storylines that have nothing to do with baseball. First of all, Dr. Fauci. While I love me some Dr. Fauci, I don't know if y'all saw his first pitch, but it was horrible. It was as bad as 50 Cent and Carl Lewis combined. He's hopefully going to solve. It was bad, bro. It was bad. Like, he didn't know where the thing was. So that makes me feel good about his ability to solve COVID. Because he sure ain't working on his baseball pitches.
You
So
can't
that's
be
more
good at everything.
But here's
everything.
worse news though. I heard the Yankees are going to let Trump throw out the first
Oh,
ball.
no,
So
no.
I'm so disappointed in my Yankees, man.
No,
I'm disgusted.
I hope that's not true.
Okay.
I hope that's not true.
It's true. It's
No,
true.
it is. I'm gonna speak on this because Mariano Rivera, who is a Yankees legend and MLB legend, I met
Trump
him.
supporter.
Yeah, staunch Trump supporter. First of all, I was about to say something about him coming over here on the boat, which he did, but I met him once and he was literally the nastiest. I'm like, first of all, you need to work on that spotty ass skin of yours. Secondly, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, you throw. I just have an issue. Okay, you could believe and do whatever you want politically. I don't care. But you, as an immigrant coming to this country, you see what your relatives and other people in your same boat, literally and figuratively, have gone through. And you sit up there and support a man who's blatantly racist and stupid. So you know what that means? That you're stupid and I can't believe anything you say. James Baldwin said it best. How can I believe what you say when I see what you do? He's not a genuine person. Like I said, I've seen it up close and that skin made my skin crawl. And I just, as the Yankees, you play in the Bronx. Are you kidding me? Are you shitting me? If George Steinbrenner was alive, even though he was a big asshole, that shit ain't happening. He's too divisive. He's not respectful. He doesn't even respect himself. So what makes you think that he has respect for anyone else? It's the Yankees need to fix it because in Boston, let me tell you something, because in Boston, there's a 250-foot banner that says Black Lives Matter.
Who would have ever thought that?
Massachusetts.
Exactly.
Who would have ever thought that?
So you mean to tell me, and remember the New York Yankees was one of the last teams to be MLB teams to be integrated. So the Yankees got a little shitty ass history with them too. But let me tell you something, he threw out that first pitch, we're going to have some problems because I will never pay another red cent to go up to the Bronx and watch the Yankees play. Because that right there, that's the deal breaker. You're going to feel my pockets when I tell you I'm not fucking supporting you. That's the line in the sand.
We got a comment that says more crowd noise from a man, TD, Tony Driver. And I think that when all of these leagues, the major four, and I don't know how the NHL remains in the major four, but oh well, they do. I guess it's such a North American sport because of our Canadian brethren to the north that we still consider the NHL major four. You got the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, and the MLB. And all of them have to contemplate as executives how to present the game to the audience that they keep the audience. And so TD's comment, more crowd noise. If you guys haven't seen tapes from last night's game, I would suggest check them out on YouTube and let me know from a presentation standpoint what you guys think. Is it something that you find yourself able to watch throughout a game? Because baseball is a slow-moving game to begin with. And the fan interaction and the crowd noise made a very long, I'll go ahead and say it, boring game. It's statistically driven. It's a boring game. It's a quantitative approach to a sport. The fan noise, the crowd noise made that at least more exhilarating and exciting. They lose that as well. I didn't like the placards, the fake people behind home base. I thought it looked crazy to me. I'm
like an old Tecmo Bowl game.
I'm like, it just looked weird to me. I'm like, and then we're gonna get into a debate about how they choose the faces, right? Why ain't no Sal? Why ain't no brothers on the wall, Sal? Why ain't no brothers on the walls? Right? So I didn't like it. It's interesting to think about how TV executives have to make these decisions. I agree with TD. There should be more crowd noise, and it should be temperamental. It should be based on the situation in the game. So hopefully the NFL, college football, hopefully they're watching and they do not make the same mistake.
How about this? How about they shouldn't be playing at all? Sorry, John. They shouldn't be playing at all. That's what you get when you greedy. So you ain't gonna get no crowd noise. You're gonna get those creepy ass cardboard cutouts behind you while you're pitching. I don't have any sympathy. They shouldn't be playing any major sports because that shit's gonna kill people. But
Great
y'all go ahead
transition.
and make your money.
Great transition. Quick, you had anything about baseball before we transition?
Yeah, it's funny. What he said about the crowd noise. They should pump in crowd noise. I mean, we watch sitcoms all the time with fake clapping and laughing and all that stuff. So in baseball, all sports are just entertainment. So what's the big deal? Just pump it in,
I'm most disappointed because we've known forever that wrestling is fake. They had an opportunity as one of the early leaders to be. They should have been as fake as possible, and instead they had the ring surrounded by other wrestlers. It just looks weird instead of being exciting and exhilarating. That transition, Maya, you say that none of them should be playing, and so you give us the opportunity to transition. If anybody is watching, this is the moment that we ask you to comment, we ask you to like, we ask you to share, and this is the moment. I got let me see if I put him in there already. I don't know if I did. This is the moment that I ask you to make sure that your friends are listening, because I'm going to tell you why high school football should be back. I know that Dr. Fauci and the experts are talking about the risk of the virus spreading. I'm going to tell you right now on the Ball Hog Sport Talk, the MC, Mr. B. Brown, ESQ, the Ball Hog himself is going to convince you why high school football, despite the looming threat, the health concern, I'm going to tell you why it should be back. Maya, I'll let you start. You told us why you think, or you said that none of it should be played. I'll give you the first shot at this, and then I'm going to convince everybody that high school football needs to be back. Go ahead, Maya.
Okay. I want you to make sure your router good because I'm about to blow that shit up. Okay. First and foremost, this is it's not a national pandemic. This is worldwide. This is global. This is something that people cannot literally put their finger on. And people can contract it and they can survive. I mean, it's definitely a higher survival rate, but why would you even risk your life for some? I'm not risking my life. I like living. I like to eat. I like to do extracurriculars. I like to be an adult. I'm not going to jeopardize any of that goodness for the sake of making somebody else happy. Nah, dude. I wear a mask. I keep my distance. I do what's told of me to prevent me from getting sick and weakening my immune system, my respiratory system and everything else, because people who've had COVID-19 that have survived still have lingering effects. It affects the cardiovascular system, the pulmonary system. So it's not like, oh, I've recovered, I'm good. You're still getting screwed. I'm not going to put myself in any unnecessary harms. I'm not going to do it. Period, point blank. And if I'm jonesing or fiending for something like that, then I might as well get out there and do the damn thing I'm jonesing for and fiending for myself. I don't think that we should risk people's lives for the sake of entertainment. Now, if you want to risk a life, put that fat pig that lives in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue outside with no mask and have people cough on them. That's what you risk. You don't risk.
You might be on to something. That's a new sport.
Oh my God. I'm not going to risk young men and women going out there playing the sport just because it's good for us. It makes me feel good. Fuck you, how you makes you feel. Nah,
DJ John Quick, Maestro, you're next. And thank you, Maya. I knew that you were gonna have some vigor when it came to that. You have an opinion on this, DJ John Quick, before I convince the world why high school football should be back. Y'all tag y'all friends because it's coming right now. Tag the superintendents, tag the head coaches, because I'm going to tell you right now why I should be back. But go ahead, superhero DJ John.
Honestly, I don't really have an opinion on it just because I don't know how they plan on bringing it back. Because I think in a perfect world, the way the NBA is doing it is, to me, the best way. You have to be able to separate people in terms of, from the general community to people who are participating in this thing. Like, they have zero people having COVID inside the bubble right now, in terms of the players, at least. And to me, that's a blueprint on how to do this. So I'm wondering, how are they going to do this with football? It's going to be very interesting and very, I don't think anything's impossible, But like Maya said, like at the end of the day, you're literally risking your life. So is that what you want to risk your life for? And that's the question everybody has to ask. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Did y'all tag y'all friends? I need y'all humbly to comment, like, and share. This perspective that I'm about to give is so rough, rugged, and raw. It is true Ball Hog Sports Talk. And here it is. So I need you to comment. I need you to like. I need you to share. Tag your friends right now because I'm going to tell you why high school football should be back. From a health perspective, I agree wholeheartedly with what Maya is saying, that we don't have any way to protect, unequivocally protect people from catching this virus. That's a challenge. Shout out to the WNBA for creating a bubble that has been protected. And the players, they have zero positive tests. Shout out to them. But what we're seeing with COVID-19 is that there are two Americas. For me, if you didn't have high school football, me and my family, we're good. My son's going to be okay. There's no big problem. But there's a whole different America that COVID-19 is exposing. A lot of those kids, young men out there, are out there because this is their one opportunity. If they don't have a season this year, there are going to be some young men living in tough situations that might not get a scholarship. I'll go even further because the Florida High School Sports Athletic Association came out with a ruling and changed their ruling. Ironically, the picture that they showed had Carroll City on it. Carroll City in certain areas in Florida, if they don't have football, y'all talk about the safety and the concerns of COVID. Some of them young men, if they ain't playing football, that were naturally and genetically born to be aggressive and assertive, if they ain't playing football because of the environment that they live in, they might be knocking on your door. And they ain't knocking on your door selling Girl Scout cookies. They knocking on your door because that's the only way they can eat. Some of those young men, and I got to talk to one of the coaches here in Newark. So I think of them in two areas. I'm thinking of New Jersey and I'm thinking of Florida. I don't know about everywhere else, but I'm thinking of New Jersey and I'm thinking of Florida. There's certain areas of Florida that this is their ticket. There's certain areas of Florida that if they can't go play football, they can't go to practice. You talk about mental health. Some of these young people, that is their only therapeutic session they have throughout the day is they get to do something other than be at home in a trap house where there's drugs surrounding them, where there's violence surrounding them, where there are pressures and distractions and opportunities to derail themselves. And so football, to a lot of people, I was blessed not to necessarily be in this situation, but football to a lot of people is so much more than just a game. It's so much more than entertainment. It's a ticket. It's an opportunity to escape the reality that there are two worlds in America. There are haves and have-nots. And we ain't going to never just walk up, and I say we as a country, walk up and provide an opportunity for somebody living in the worst conditions in Newark, New Jersey. It ain't happening. We ain't just going to walk up to the Poke and Bean projects in Miami and just hand somebody an opportunity. The idea that people can pull themselves up by the bootstrap is asinine. Football gives people a real way to pull themselves up, not by their own bootstraps, but by going out there in blood, sweat, and tears and earning themselves a scholarship that could change the trajectory of their entire life. And so high school football, to some degree, needs to come back because it's the only way to, A, prevent the health concerns and risks of that young person being involved in gang activity and knocking on your door and knocking you over the head, and B, not being stuck and trapped in a situation, in an environment that has very little optimistic outcome, if not for football and a scholarship opportunity. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's real. And high school football is so much more than high school football. The coaches that these young men interact with, and I see my dog Tyrone Franchise Johnson, what's up, good bro, is one of them. He coaches at Shabazz High School. Those young men that he coached, those young men, he ain't just a coach to them. He's a father figure. He's a counselor. He's a protector. He is so much more than just a coach to them. because going on ain't no positive male role models. And so that's my only concern, is that we can strip it away from people like myself living in the suburbs. My kid's gonna be okay. But man, I think we are underestimating the blow that this will provide on young men that are stuck in situations that, but for football, in this America in 2020, but for football, there's very few opportunities for an escape route out of the conditions. Okay. That's my Bob, plea. That's my plea.
Okay. I hear you, Bob, but I think there's a couple things. Number one, if we're going to cancel football in the fall, there definitely should be a remote alternative program for these kids can keep busy. Because at the end of the day, Dr. Fauci ain't lying. And these kids can easily bring this COVID, even though they may be asymptomatic, they could bring this COVID home to their parents and whatever. And if you think kids are having a tough time without football, imagine how tough of a time they'll have without their parents. Number two,
true, very true.
I'm not saying we should be careful with the word cancel and postpone. I think what needs to happen is we need to postpone the season until the spring. That way, by then, maybe we'll have vaccines and we'll be obviously much more knowledgeable on how to treat this situation. So that's what I would say to that. But everything else you said is 100% correct. You know, that is a harsh reality with a lot of our kids. I've been, I've been in positions where I've, had to, deal with kids, from all the way from a grade school level to a high school level in terms of leadership and, being that person that might be that positive, the only positive male role model in their life. And so I hear you 100%. So we have to use our ingenuity in terms of dealing with these type of kids, because I think they reversed the ruling where they're not going to have football this fall.
They said that they postponed in Florida. They delayed it until September. Yeah. And I think that what scares me, and then we can get in and get out of this because I'll let you guys respond. What scares me, though, is when we talk about it with one tone as though the entire country and their relationship to football is the same. And I get to be a Pop Warner coach at East Orange, New Jersey, and I go to that park to do conditioning, and I look around, and it's packed. Why? Because a lot of those young people are escaping some harsh realities, and football is its own form of mental therapeutic session for a lot of these kids. And I wish I could snap my fingers and change that, but it's going to take a lot more progress in other areas for that to change. And so that's the only thing that scares me is we talk about it as though it's one conversation, but in certain parts of Miami, if Florida is not played, God bless us all, because it's going to be people knocking on the door. They can't practice.
Bro, I'm gonna need you to cut off some of those echo devices in your house.
Point, your Wi-Fi just goes to shit because it agrees with me. Well, cut off some of those echo devices. It's pro Maya today. I fucks with it. The point that I'm making in regards to this, you think it's bad being in the situation where you can't get out. Imagine having to bury everybody in your family. You know how expensive funerals are? You think they're not throwing people who go to Cotter's Field, because we had one in Jersey, throwing people in the damn ground. Funeral homes won't even touch somebody's. So you have to look. I understand COVID affects everyone differently, but it affects everyone. There is no segment of the population that has not been affected by COVID-19. I am very clear with the distinction between the haves and the have-nots. Trust me, I've been a have-not, and it ain't fun. But if something, life comes in ebbs and flows, and I'm not diminishing anything that anyone has gone through, because Lord knows we all Black. We know what it's like to go through something.
Amen, sister.
But you're risking for something right now, the immediate. It's like you can't see the forest for the trees because you want this instant gratification. Not gratification because I have to have this. In the long haul, it will probably be a bigger issue. I'm a proponent for timing. God's timing is perfect. Whether you call him God, Jehovah, Yahweh, Master Money Green, whatever you call him, whatever deity you believe in. But these things are happening for a reason. We are not supposed to be playing these sports. We are supposed to be wearing masks. We're not supposed to be so defiant, because not everyone reacts to COVID in the same way. You have babies that are dying off of it, and you have senior citizens that are living. You have to be smart. I understand what it's like to be in a toxic environment and just, you want to rip out your fucking head. Now, if somebody want to roll up on me, I will shoot you. I don't give a fuck who you are. You will get shot. I don't play those games. It's either me or you. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. And I think that's what a lot of people are forgetting. You cannot be so risky just because you can't do it. This is your life. Now, if you want to go out there, young man, and you like, I don't give a shit, I'm throwing caution to the wind, and you're part of Darwinism when you survive, I salute you. But the risk is too fucking high. I'm sorry. I've seen people, I know people who have survived COVID that are still fucked up. I know people that have died from COVID. So it's not worth it at the end of the day. I'm sorry. I'll stay home. Hell, I'll make babies before I go out there and risk my life. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'd be like, look, shit, you gotta do something. But I'm not going out there trying to entertain folks. Fuck that. It like I said, how many GoFundMe accounts do you see when people like, I can't bury my cousin, I can't bury this. We don't even have insurance policies set up and shit, and they want $10,000. That's right. One funeral. And you know, Black people don't believe in cremation. I ain't burning my grandmama. She needs to go on the ground. Well, that casket, sweetie, is $6,500 fucking dollars. Where you getting that cash from?
Very expensive. Very, very, very expensive. And look, I don't think we're going to solve it now. I'm just providing a different perspective, because I think when we talk about it and we say, you know, you're going out there for entertainment, a lot of those young men ain't going out there for entertainment. They're going out there for survival, meaning they're trying to survive their circumstances. And they have been all too aware of the normal path that men are taking in their neighborhood. And they look at one path, football, as a positive path towards another opportunity outside of jail, outside of the cemetery, outside of the challenges that they find themselves in. So I'm just saying that, speaking up on behalf of that young man who needs that scholarship, who couldn't afford college otherwise, and because he can entertain, is getting an opportunity. That's the only reason I wanted to at least talk about it. But a lot of them are being, when you say stay home to some kids mean they are in a trap house. They're leaving because business is booming during COVID, during quarantine. It's people coming in and out, in and out. Mama, daddy, grandma, auntie, whomever they live with runs a trap house. That's what they call home. And so, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical. I'm trying to be real. And that's all I'm saying. And a lot of people make great comments on it. Walt says it's bigger than football. We should spend more time talking about the two Americas you alluded to. That's the real problem. I agree. I think that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Meaning, I want to address this and make sure that these young men have an opportunity. And you guys have heard me speak ad nauseum about young people not allowing themselves to define their opportunities purely by sport. I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And we do need to address the fact that we have these two Americas existing at once. But if they take away football this year, while we're trying to solve the problems that lead to two Americas, there's going to be a group of young men in class of 2021 that will be thrown to the wolves. And I wish that was just a figurative way of saying it, but it's almost literal. Yeah, like, you're going to be thrown to the wolves. And so that's my only concern with it. I've talked to coaches in the inner city. My dog, Tyrone, one of them, who was on here. And I know that there's other people in inner cities that Man, football is so much more than just entertainment. Are there health concerns? Absolutely. I would love to see these states create a similar bubble environment, meaning, why not have the kids stay in a bubble and, spend a few weeks away from home? I think that's a good use of resources, especially when it comes to providing some of these kids an opportunity. And we'll leave it there. John, quick, the maestro himself, any last words on it before we move to?
No, y'all covered it. I'm good.
All right, so we've got Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. No, you know what? I'm not going there. We'll end on that one because everybody laughed naturally. We got to end on a high note, a light move. I'll stop here. This will be a quick bus stop before we get to Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, because I think it connects to what we just talked about with the players and their opportunities. I posted something about financial literacy and Dwayne Wade talking about having fewer cars being a way to create generational wealth. And I was shocked to get some of the responses by way of text. And y'all know I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't afraid of saying what I have to say. And I shared my story, meaning when I played in the league, I drove a 1996 Ford Explorer Sport. That's the coupe, the little short one, into it. The two-door. I drove that to an NFL parking lot. And if you know anything about an NFL parking lot, it's keeping up with the Joneses. Everybody trying to outdo the next person. And I recall one of my teammates, a defensive back who shall remain nameless, who drove S-Class Mercedes with the coupe. It looked like a spaceship. The thing was beautiful. He told me, stop parking next to him because you're going to devalue my car. Now, if I was a weak-minded person, that could have got to me. Now, as a professional with several degrees, I drive an old 2008 Chevy Impala, and the thing make more noises than anything. It gets me from point A to point B. And my boys still tease me like, man, go buy a car. But what I will say is because I have avoided car notes for the last 20 years, my bank accounts are good. When I look at my statements, I'm straight. So I put that out there. Man, it was a bit self-deprecating, but I put that out there. And I thought it was a good thing. But I've been getting bombs thrown at me. Everybody's upset with me, telling me, nah, you gotta live. If you make the money, live. I'm not telling you to live. What I'm saying is, because again, we gotta walk and chew gum at the same time. If we want to change the dynamic of generational wealth and provide opportunities for our kids such that they don't have to go to a job because they have to, they don't have to play football because they have to, they don't go work with some racist company because they have to, then we got to start leaving them some more that we got to leave them more than just some dreams and hopes. We got to leave them money. In order to do that, we got to figure out how to cut our cost on a monthly basis and save more and invest more. And if you're a car enthusiast, I'm not talking to you. Yeah. Go buy your car. Go cut it from somewhere else. But financial literacy is something that I preach to high school, college, and professional level athletes because it does run in conjunction with the other conversation. It's the only way that we can get out of feeling so compelled to be in the entertainment business and do other things. We gotta be more financially literate and create wealth.
Can I say something very briefly?
Yes.
First and foremost, you could tell that he didn't have two fucking brain cells to rub together because the moment he drove that S-Class off the lot, it depreciated in value.
Absolutely did.
I'm petty. I'd be like, you know what? My shit probably worth more than yours. And I'm from Newark. I may steal your shit. So you need to watch your mouth.
True story.
Foremost. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm petty Betty. Another thing that a lot of people don't understand about yes, I did. Financial literacy. Like I work in corporate America. I work for a financial firm. So I'm privy to stock market, the language, the lingo, all of these investment accounts and all of these things. So what I do is I have asked questions, and you learn about 401k. Does your company match? What's a discretionary account? Like, have you paid all your bills? Do you have 6 months worth of savings? Shit like that. And when you start throwing things at that, like people, they're like, God forbid something happens to your house. Can you live for 4 months without working? This is the thing. We're so instant gratification. That's like my fucking phrase today, instant gratification. We're such a microwave society. Right. And it's just like, we're living for today because tomorrow ain't here. Now, I know plenty of people that have the dopest fucking cars out there. I'm like, damn, yeah, I'm going to talk to you just because of your car. But they have 6 figures in not just savings. They diversify their savings. They have multiple stock options with Amazon and all these things. And they're Black. And they say, you want to know why? Toys are my baby. I don't buy expensive clothing or whatever because I'm rough on clothes. I'm going to dog it out. That's not what's important to me. What's important to me is when my kids say, hey, this is the college I want to attend. This is all financial aid department is going to give me. Here's the check. You straight. That's the shit we need to be concerned about. Not worrying about if Notre Dame, Stanford, University of Alabama, any of these schools, dear Lord, please give my baby a scholarship, because that's not how it works. You cannot, especially now in the COVID crisis, you can't depend on shit from one day to the next.
Absolutely.
So if this doesn't prepare you to save and do what you're supposed to do financially, I don't know what the fuck else will. I mean, maybe a house will have to drop on your head. But I'm not me personally, I'm not a car person. Like, if somebody's like, here's the keys to a Jetta, cool. I still look better than you and your girl. And fuck around, I have the keys to your house. I'll get you to sign over the deed to me. So
watch out now.
Watch me work.
Maestro, DJ John Quick. Anything before we close out with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, financial literacy, and because you get to see it too, right? I'm talking from an athlete's perspective, but you work with a lot of entertainers. How many entertainers end up broke? You know how many guys went to the NFL from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right now that are in tough situations? They have more cars than there were days in the week while they were playing. And so all I'm saying is just be proactive and preemptive so you don't end up, there's no shortage of examples, so you don't end up like the person before you. I know you see it from an entertainment standpoint. Any words of advice?
No, just, our priorities are all screwed up. That's what it comes down to. Like, I'm with you, Bob. I haven't had a car note since early 2000s. I just started, if I see a car I'll try to buy it in cash and be done with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to have the latest model, because as Maya said, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it depreciates.
Right.
So that, to me, that's actually a bad investment at some point.
Yeah.
So that's what we need. We need to, as a people, we need to change our mindset in terms of our financial literacy and just try to get as educated as possible about, how credit works and, saving money and, investing and things of that nature.
Real estate.
Instead of like investing, and I don't mean like I'm gonna invest this $10 in these lottery tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
that's
I'm talking about real investment. Yeah. Like, real talk. Like, I made a point.
Yeah,
I made a point of trying to get educated in terms of investing in things that I enjoy, that I believe in, because people are making money off me and you just because we like certain things. So they're like, okay, they like this. Let's make a product that they'll like and get some investors behind it. So again, we just have to change our whole mindset. That's right.
What I would say this, at the risk of sounding like the old man. We did not know what credit was when we got to campus. As soon as I got to campus, they offered you a free T-shirt to open up a credit card account. The first thing I bought with that credit card account was a $350 stereo, because I wanted booming. Y'all know I used to have the parties popping on campus with the 6 CD thing. I had the speakers bumping. It took me 15 years to pay for a $350 stereo. $350, I probably paid easily $2,000 for it when you factor in insurance, interest over the years, compounding it. And so what I'm saying to people is just be smart, because if you get that opportunity to go to Stanford, Michigan, Notre Dame, and you get on campus, all of a sudden now they look at you as credit worthy. And you open up a credit card not having a plan, not knowing what credit can mean to you in life, and it could be a problem. When I was playing for the Browns, and can I say, I'll just say he lived in the same apartment complex. I was going to give proximity, but that might be too much information. They'll know who I'm talking about. He lived in the same apartment complex with me. The people from the apartment complex called me one day and said, "Hey man, can you just get him to pay his rent? Like, we've given him all types of warnings. We're going to report him to the credit agency." He went very high in the draft. He had the money to do it, but he didn't appreciate the fact that credit worthiness follows you for a long time. And so when you get that opportunity, brothers like myself, sisters like Maya, brothers like DJ John Quick, it's our job to advise you about what you need to do in order to create generational wealth. And so my post about financial literacy and Dwayne Wade's comments about buying cars and stop doing it, it wasn't to call nobody out, throw you under the bus. It was to say we got to do better, and to know better is to do better. And again, although we might sound old, I'm telling you, young athlete, from the very first paycheck, you got to have a plan. Because guess what? The others don't have as well. And I'm not going to ask anybody to raise their hand who's watching. But as a Black NFL player, I have family members calling me with real problems who needed to borrow money. As a Black NFL player, I had family members calling me, asking me to put something on their books. My white brethren and sister, if you don't know what that means, ask your Black friend. Put something on my books. And so we have unique issues and have more people depending on us, because more times than not, we're the first generation or the first person in that tax bracket. And so you definitely have to have a plan, because if you don't, you're going to be spending more than you're making. And that's why when there's any threat of a lockout, a potential end of a season because of something like a pandemic, players are in an uproar because they need the money. They need the money. They are living in the NBA, NFL, MLB. A lot of them are living, although they are big checks, they're living check to check. And at some point, we got to do better if we want better. Let's stop just blaming the other folk, the white man. Some of it is us. We got to create generational wealth. And that's why I posted it. And with that, we can transition.
Wait, one last thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you said Dwayne Wade has 16 cars. You can only drive one car at a time.
Yeah, and he's not alone. And so I told my son this week, because Thatcher, my youngest boomer, is into the music. And he wants me to turn the radio up when the mumble rap comes on, because that's what's in.
Poor baby.
And so I turn it up for a second, and I turn it down real quick, and I ask him, what's 7 times 9? And if he gets it wrong, now he's a second grader, but I'm challenging him to get his multiplication table down. If he gets it wrong, I don't turn the music up. And I tell him, or I'll ask him what the definition of rhetorical means, because I've taught you what that word means. And I want to know whether or not he knows his multiplication table. I want to know whether or not he knows the definition of a word that I explained to him before, because I said, if you know the words of each one of these rap songs, it shows me that you can learn it. You can remember things. I need you to know and learn and remember your multiplication table. Now, as parents, as a community, it's our job to combine the two. If he wants to listen to Lil whoever, fill in the name with some random mumble rapper, just put Lil in front of it and whatever. And if he wants the benefit of listening to it, show me your multiplication tables. And so it's on us to make sure that we connect those two.
Agreed.
I will finish with this, because we are getting to the very end. In the last 2 minutes, it's the fight that we all been waiting for. 51-year-old Roy Jones Jr., you must have forgot, against 54-year-old Iron Mike Tyson. What y'all got? It is the geriatric bowl. It is, forget the Thriller in Manila. This is the Viagra. Y'all got Roy Jones or Mike Tyson. Who you got?
Mike, just because the sheer brute. What is that? Roy Jones is what, from Pensacola's finest?
Don't be playing like that. You know he's from Pensacola. You know what I mean? You know he's from
Pensacola. Know where
Pensacola.
Pensacola is. It's in the Panhandle in Florida. Try to find that shit without a map.
Hey, and the reason you know is because anytime they put the mic in front of Roy Jones Jr., Roy Jones could be in the middle of a tactical explanation. And then I was defensive and I threw the overhand right. And shout out to Pensacola. It was like Tourette's. He was always out Pensacola. He loved him for Pensacola. Pensacola, Florida. Who you got? Come on, DJ John, quick. You going with Pensacola or you going with Iron Mike?
Listen, Roy, I hadn't seen that latest video of Iron Mike basically punching some dude out of the ring damn near. Like, Iron Mike, first of all, they wouldn't have fought in their primes because Iron Mike is a heavyweight. And what is Roy Jones is light heavyweight at the most, maybe?
He got up to light heavyweight. Yeah. But in his prime, he was
this is not smart, man. I mean, you know, when I heard it, I started thinking CTE. Like, what's going on, bro?
What are they doing?
Somebody. It's not the dude you want to get in the ring with. And Mike looked like he still has that power. And you know, when you're at that age, the speed is not really an issue. It's like, can you handle getting hit by one of them haymakers, son? Like you serious, Roy? Come on, man. Like, yo, you know, it's so funny. I was thinking, because remember Roy Jones, you know, he was the first boxer Brand Jordan you know,
sponsored, right?
So I'm looking at that logo and I'm like, yo, how you gonna be walking around like after the fight, the Brand Jordan logo ain't gonna have an arm, ain't gonna have a head.
He definitely gonna have an ear.
Yo, this is not gonna be a great look for Roy. Roy gonna be running all night. That's all I'm gonna say. And be smart.
It's supposed to be 8 rounds. And they call it an exhibition. The first thing I thought of was the Russian Drago. It's supposed to be an exhibition. Throw in the towel. I hope it does not get to that point. And I hope, because now this is how this connects to the previous topic. I hope they ain't doing this for money. And that's the sad reality that a lot of our athletes that have entertained a lot of people end up staying a little too long. They want to play that one extra season. Not because of the love and the purity of the game, it's because they did not plan. They need the money. If you look
at Mike is good though. I think because remember Mike had a whole cartoon. Yeah. He had a whole cartoon on Adult Swim, so he's good money.
I think so. But there are 3 categories. There are 3 categories. It's sort of the possessions and the toys. It's the drug addiction for athletes, and then the third bucket is family ties. If you got a whole bunch of baby mamas, there's no way to accumulate true generational wealth. And
wrap your shit up, guy. Especially in COVID. Where you going?
Wrap it up. With that, because I just hope it's not related to money. Because you saw that Terrell Owens has been trying to get back into football. He just raced Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill gave him a head start in the 100. But at 46, he did not get caught by Tyreek Hill. Y'all got to go watch that. So you got Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones. You got Tyreek Hill versus Terrell Owens. And now you got your boy, B. Brown ESQ, the ball hawk himself. I'm about to play my man Diamond Ruffin in a one-on-one. Diamond, you better bring it. I went outside. This is how I know this would work for the WNBA. I put the goal down a little bit, but I made sure I could still dunk. And this is going to be the year of the geriatrics. The old men are going to represent. I'm going to take on Diamond Ruffin. Yeah, a young man, a trainer, all of that. I'm coming out of retirement. I'm bringing out the Chuck Taylors. I'm making sure I strap them up tight. I'm putting on a pair of socks. And I'm going to show the whole world at 43 years old, I still got it. I'm still going to dunk. I'm bringing clips of that game to the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Bet on your boy. That's all I'm saying.
Get him, dog.
Yeah. That's right. You officially have a dog in this fight. It's been the No Dog in This Fight episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, with the maestro himself. You hear the barking, my dog, superhero DJ John Quick. And with the Maverick, Miss Majestic Maya, I am the MC. We thank you for your time. We ask you kindly to like, comment, and share. We ask you again and again and again, and we ask humbly, please like, please comment, please share. We'll be back to you next Friday with a lot more content. It's been the Ball Hog Sports Talk. We're going to give them the outro. Let me see if I get the outro. I'm supposed to have this queued up. Y'all bear with us. But we're going to give them the outro as we get out of here. This has been a great week. Any parting shots from either one of you? Give us the 20-second, 30-second version. Any parting shots?
I'm fine at 40. I still take your daddy and you.
Oh, yeah. The cancer herself is now all the way in the 40. You go ahead, girl. Any parting shots, DJ John, quick?
Just stay safe and get your diet right and during this pandemic, because I've been eating like crap and I end up going to the damn hospital, so we don't want that.
My parting shots. Y'all little young whippersnappers gonna get it right, man. He sent me something today talking about a sky hook. You better believe I got a sky hook. You better believe I'm doing all the old school moves. I'm about to go watch the master himself, Kareem. I'm going to go watch videos of Elijah one. I'm going to go watch the Lone Sock, Michael Cooper. I'm going to go watch all the relics, and I'm going to bring it to the game. Y'all put your money on your boy. Old school versus new school. Yes, I'm going to have Icy Hot right next to the court. Yes, I'm going to ice for 3 weeks after the game, but I'm going to represent for the 70s and 80s babies. Holla at your boy. We out, y'all. It's been the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Y'all comment, y'all like, y'all share. Peace. Peace.